Step 1. You're going to need your controller. So after you get your controller, you're not going to use the straw method of putting straws over the A, the X, Y button because paint can easily drip in. You want to take your controller apart. Now this may be scary for some of you, but it's actually quite simple. You're going to remove the 7 screws on the back. Take out the battery pack, and there's one under this barcode right here. I've already unscrewed it so you can kind of see it right in there. It's going to be right in the center of that barcode. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. After you've taken out the 7 screws on the controller, what you're going to want to do is you're going to take your controller and flip it over. After you've taken out the 7 screws, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to put your fingers right up here and right down on the bottom. And as you put your fingers on the bottom, you're just going to want to simply pull out like that, as I just did, and pull the top away. And you see, these are the rumble pads. You want to be very careful with these. These can be pulled out by accident, but it usually doesn't happen. So now what you want to do is you want to take your controller, holding the motherboard in, flip it over. Take the 2 joysticks and gently push down them. The whole thing should just pop out. All the buttons and everything. Now you may have this piece right here, which simply slides into the top. So you can simply pull this out. Comes out quite easily. Take out this bottom part, it pulls out too. And this rubber pad and the rubber pad that you have right here on the motherboard, take these off and set these to the side. Now what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take your battery pack and put this back in. Set the actual controller and pieces off to the side, plus the right bumper, left bumper, and the sync button. Now what you're going to want to do is take off your joysticks, just like this. Move all the joysticks, A, B, X, Y, start and back buttons off to the side. And we'll come back to these later. The most challenging part now about taking off all the pieces are going to be the triggers. Now the triggers, you have to be very gentle with. What you're going to want to do is you're going to slide it to the left, and you're going to slide it out of this little thing right here. So now it's free this. Now what you're going to simply do is watch out for the spring. You don't want this thing to go flying and lose it. That's bad. So squeeze in on the trigger, put your thumb in the way, and it should just pop out. Make sure the spring doesn't go flying once again, because you don't want to be scrounging around for a spring out of an old toy or something. So after you get one off, go ahead and move to the other. Same thing, you simply push it off to the side, squeeze, pull it out. Now the last part about getting the trigger out is you just have to slide it to the left or to the right, whatever side, and just wiggle it out. It's real easy. It just slides in like that and comes out. Now that you have the triggers out, now I'll show you how to take out the trigger from this angle. What you want to do is this part right here, this trigger, you just want to push on it, let it slide, it clicks down like so, and then you're going to simply squeeze the trigger back and it should slide right out like this. Take the spring, set this off to the side, take the trigger and it just slides and it wiggles its way out. So it's like this, slide, comes right out, set that off to the side. Now take your motherboard, set this off to the side with the springs, the D-pads, and everything else off here. And now we gotta work on preparation for painting, everything else. Now a little trick I learned to keep everything together is as you come up to the actual console, or you come up to the actual controller, that little ring where the LEDs go, which the Xbox guide sits in, you want to take this out. Do not paint this. This right here that the guide button sits in, don't paint this. Don't paint this. Take this, we'll come over here to the screws. Set this down and take all the screws, put all the screws in here, and set this off to the side. This keeps all the screws together, and you're not going to lose any 7 of the screws, and you're not accidentally going to paint that bad boy over there. Also what you can do is place the springs and the rubber pads all together in one place with the screws, so you don't have to worry about, oh my gosh, where'd the rubber pads? If you lose any of these parts, your controller, you won't be able to use it. The last thing you're going to want to set down to the side is going to be the motherboard. Simply just move the motherboard over to where you want to set it down and set it down. You know, keep it all together. Make sure the rubber molding pads aren't hanging off of something or anything bad. So it can't, put it in a safe place. You don't want dust collecting on this. You can put it in a plastic bag if you'd like to.